Adreian Payne, a former NBA and Michigan State basketball player, was shot and killed in Orlando this past week, and tributes are pouring in. Deputies arrived to a complaint in the early hours of the morning where they discovered Payne had been shot. He was then taken to the hospital where he was officially declared dead at the age of 31. Stay tuned to find out everything you need to know the former NBA player's tragic death. The world is in shock over NBA star Adreian Payne's untimely death. In an Orlando shooting, Adreian Payne, a former Michigan State basketball player and NBA player, died. He was only 31 at the time of his death. Payne was found and quickly rushed to the hospital where he was pronounced dead. According to the sheriff's office, Lawrence Dority, 29, was present at the scene. After homicide detectives interviewed him, he was detained on a first-degree murder warrant. As you can imagine, this news has come as a major shock to so many people, as Payne was an icon within the sport. Payne went over 4 seasons with Atlanta, Minnesota, and Orlando, appearing in 107 NBA games, averaging 4 points and 3 rebounds. He was picked number 15 overall by the Hawks in 2014, then traded to the Timberwolves, where he impressively averaged 6.7 points and 5.1 rebounds in his rookie season. After being named in an ESPN investigation detailing sexual assault allegations against past basketball and football players at the institution, the Magic released the 6'10" forward in January 2018. However, following an inquiry, no charges were made in the case. Soon after this news, Payne played professionally for Juventus in Lithuania earlier this year. In addition, he performed in Turkey, France, Greece, and China. Payne, a Dayton, Ohio native, started 94 of Michigan State's 138 games in 4 seasons under Hall of Fame coach Tom Izzo. During the 2013-14 season, when the club reached the NCAA tournament's Elite 8, he averaged 16.4 points and 7.3 rebounds. But in September of 2021, Payne announced that he would be taking a hiatus from basketball to care for his son, who was undergoing brain surgery. "Basketball is my passion," he stated on Twitter. "Amari is my heartbeat." In other NBA news, Ben Simmons continues to get clowned on, and now by none other than Shaq himself. Ben Simmons was sold to the Brooklyn Nets in a blockbuster transaction that sent James Harden to Philadelphia after he sat out the season with the Philadelphia 76ers while waiting to be dealt. The franchise had expected Simmons to make his Nets debut during the playoffs, but he never did, and the Nets were swept out of the Eastern Conference playoffs in the first round by the Boston Celtics. Shaquille O'Neal, who termed Simmons' absence from the playoffs as a punk move on April 24th and suggested in January that Simmons was a crybaby, adding, "I don't respect him," has been very critical of Simmons. Now that Simmons has had a successful operation to relieve the discomfort caused by a herniated disc in early May, at least one supporter, YouTube personality Doc Holliday, has asked that Simmons' detractors apologize for their treatment of him on Twitter. Simmons retweeted Holliday's message to his 1 million followers without comment, possibly signaling that he agreed with Holliday. However, O'Neal, who has been an outspoken critic of Simmons all season, recently spoke with Taylor Rooks of Bleacher Report about the situation. "If you allow people free to speculate," O'Neal added, "they'll make their own speculation." O'Neal claimed his analysis is based on a mix of guesswork and facts, but for the time being, we're simply operating on supposition and some facts because I know where he is. "So I've learned a lot and seen a lot. However, he hasn't stated why he isn't playing," O'Neal added. O'Neal seemed to be willing to engage Simmons in conversation. Meanwhile, Simmons' recuperation is expected to take 3 weeks according to the organization, and he should be ready for training camp in September. Even though there are still doubts over the star's future with the organization, it appears like Brooklyn wants him to start the season with them. Simmons did not play in the 2021-22 season. His nightmare began in Philadelphia, where he demanded a trade last offseason and then blamed his absence on mental health difficulties. So the big question is, will the Nets decide to stay with him? Ben Simmons was transferred to Brooklyn earlier this year as part of the blockbuster James Harden trade, and it came with a confident assertion from fellow Australian NBA player Patty Mills. So when the Nets acquired Simmons, it appeared like they intended to keep him long-term. Although he is under contract until the 2024-25 season, there are a few hypothetical trade scenarios in which the star would be sent out of town, including one in which he would be traded to the Atlanta Hawks, and another one in which he would be traded to the Houston Rockets. He does have some unanswered questions. For starters, he will have been out of an NBA game for nearly 17 months by the start of next season. It's impossible to say which version of Simmons the Nets will get. He'll be asked to be the third option behind Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant for the Nets, so he won't get as much attention as he did in Philly, but he'll still play a significant role role. But since his recent operation, it appears Simmons will, shockingly, be out for some more time. Of course, this has fans and officials not happy, but what can they do? Everyone is crossing their fingers that once he has healed, he is back and better than ever. Now, another hot topic in the NBA world is the talk and debate around who deserved the MVP award. According to ESPN, Nikola Jokic of the Denver Nuggets will be crowned the NBA's most valuable player, MVP, for the second straight year, ahead of Joel Embiid of the Philadelphia 76ers. After another outstanding season that surpassed his 2020-2021 campaign, the 27-year-old Serbian ace will be named MVP later this week. When the Nuggets finished 6th in the Western Conference, Jokic averaged around 27.1 points, 13.8 rebounds, and 7.9 assists per game, with the Golden State Warriors knocking out the Nuggets and Jokic in the first round of the playoffs. Now, this is where all the debate begins. Despite finishing as the league's top scorer with a very impressive average of 30.6 points per game, Embiid will yet again miss out on the prized MVP award thanks to his claimed triumph. Jokic's back-to-back MVP honors followed those of Greek star Giannis Antetokounmpo in 2019 and 2020. Furthermore, Jokic is now the 15th player in NBA history to win multiple MVP trophies, joining a list that includes Bill Russell, Wilt Chamberlain, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Moses Malone, Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, Steph Curry, Michael Jordan, and LeBron James, among many other NBA stars. Now, LeBron James is the next topic of conversation. In a furious interview regarding the team's destiny following Los Angeles' disastrous season, Lakers owner Jeanie Buss let the world know who oversees the legendary NBA franchise. Can they make the final decision? No. Are they in charge of the team? No. Buss said of Lakers star LeBron James and his Clutch Sports camp, "As the majority owner of the Los Angeles Lakers, I am responsible for every decision made here." Buss's aggressive statement comes less than 2 weeks after Bleacher Report revealed that the Lakers executive management is blaming James and Anthony Davis internally for the failed Russell Westbrook experiment. Clutch Sports Group, which also represents Davis, reportedly put pressure on the team for the blockbuster trade that brought them Westbrook, who has been absolutely out of sorts. Buss signed point guard Russell Westbrook with the hopes of building a big three with James and Davis, who led the Lakers to their 17th championship in 2020. However, Westbrook, who had probably the worst offensive season of his career in his first season with the Lakers, was reportedly recruited heavily by James. With James and Davis leading the way, Buss feels the Lakers can win another title. Buss stated that she chose to conduct the interview after sitting in the background for too long throughout the Lakers' problems this season, in which the James-led Hall of Fame team failed to even qualify for the play-in round, let alone the playoffs. Now, just recently, there were rumblings in the American sports media that the Lakers might explore dealing James, who is up for a contract extension in early August. Following that, The Athletic reported that if James decides to not return to the Lakers for another season, Buss will not contemplate trading him because he wants to finish out his contract. However, the Lakers president told the New York Times that she will make tough judgments even if it means making changes. In his end-of-season press conference last month, James addressed his contract situation the same day the Lakers formally parted ways with head coach Frank Vogel and said he had yet to discuss the matter owing to the NBA's collective bargaining agreement. And there you have it, everything you need to know about the former Michigan State star and how he was tragically shot. Make sure to let us know your thoughts in the comments. Thanks for watching.